So, Leeds United, a team with rich history, a team which is struggling at the moment, but we today are going to rebuild them and turn them hopefully back into Premier League champions. Now, as you can see down here some of the titles they have won in the past, and they have won a fair bit as a club. Unfortunately, at the moment, things are looking a little bit grim. In terms of the finances, it's not too bad, but not too great either. Let's just say that. The first window is always a little bit of a rough one when you play with these on FM, but I am hoping that we can turn this club around in 5 seasons. Now, it is going to be a challenge. There's a few players I wish to offload, definitely some I want to bring in, and hopefully we can get this done within 5 seasons. If it takes more, it takes more. But overall, our main challenge is to make Leeds into Premier League winners. If you do enjoy these rebuilds, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and also do come over to the Twitch and be sure to follow that as well. The link is on the screen and also in the description. So, in terms of the club vision, something which I need to be showing you guys a lot more in these rebuilds, because it is such a big part of any rebuild. All the board really desire is obviously play entertaining football, and favoured is play attacking football. Now, I feel that is something we were going to do anyway, so that pretty much goes hand in hand. We then have obviously increased commercial revenue on preferred, grow the club's reputation is on desired. There's nothing that's actually, there's a couple of things required actually, I tell a lie. Work within the wage budget, which obviously is going to be something required with Leeds, and also become an established Premier League team and be competitive in the FA Cup. Also, preferred is be competitive in the EFL Cup. So a lot of pressure actually to perform in the English Cups, not really the Premier League, to be honest. It's just sort of be an established team, where I would honestly feel with this team, the main focus would be sort of, you know, in that top 10. Possibly the English Cup's not even being a priority, but clearly it is a big priority, and hopefully that is something we can live up to, because otherwise we might be out the door. But anyway, this is going to be the tactic we are going to be using for this entire rebuild. Now, I am going to tweak it each season, so do stick around for the end of the video, where we are going to be showing you the up-to-date sort of tactic version, and that is based around the Jose Serie tactic from FM Scout. I will be leaving the link in the description, and it's pretty much a very, 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 very good 4-1-2-1-2 narrow system, and it works so well because you get the width from the fullback and the wingback. The midfield obviously dominates possession, and the 2 up front get all of the goals. Now, is it going to be a challenge with Leeds? Yes, as good as any tactic can be when you are playing as Leeds United, who typically at the moment aren't enjoying their best football. They don't have the best of the best quality of players, and you're going against a Man City and Arsenal and Manchester United. Of course you are going to lose some games, but we are going to go in and see exactly what we can do. But before that, we have been given a budget of 3.4 million, which, to be honest, we're not actually going to spend, because as you've probably gathered from all of my rebuilds on this channel, I personally, unless it's really required, I like to just see how the first team does, because then I can see who I can sell, who actually is worth building a team around, and get a real rough understanding. So let's get into the first season and see exactly how we done with this group of Leeds players. So, Season 1 results are in, and do you know what? It was actually okay, because we got inside of the top 10, which was the main aim for me personally, finishing in 8th place, which, you know, isn't obviously Champions League, even European football, but it is a good initial finish in the Prem. However, to top this, we also won the FA Cup, which is a real good trophy to win, especially when the board is pretty much demanding that you at least be competitive in them competitions. What's better than being competitive? Winning it, and that's exactly what we done. However, the Carabao Cup wasn't as good, but I feel like the board aren't going to be as annoyed, because obviously we did manage to win the FA Cup, which was the real big one. And do you know what? In terms of goal scorers, we didn't actually really have like a crazy 40-goal-a-season striker, because a lot of these narrow tactics are more based around dominating the game, possession, draining the life out the opponent type of style. And that's what we've done here. You can actually see it's going to be Noto with 16 goals, Rodrigo with the highest match rating, and also Daniel James coming in with 9 assists. In the FA Cup as well, very familiar pattern. It's actually going to be Noto enjoying one of the best seasons I've probably seen from him on this game, to be honest. 6 goals in this cup and 3 goals in this cup. We've got to remember going forward, we also do have Rutter, who is a fantastic player in this game. So we've actually got a lot of good striking options. But going into what is going to be the second season, we have actually been given £74 million practically, which is a big chunk of money to play with, way more than what I thought we would receive with Leeds. So this is definitely enough to go over now and talk some transfers, get rid of some of the players we want to as well, and strengthen this team. Now, it is going to be tough to get some of the players I want gone, so whether I have to end up loaning some of these players or whatever I have to do to get rid of the players I don't want, I will do, because I've got a rough idea on some of the players I want to be bringing in, and to fund that, we need to offload as well. So, the transfers we are going to be bringing in for the second season, I mean, there's a lot of signings, let's put it that way. We did not hold back at all in these signings. As you can see, we did also sell players. So one of the players I wanted to get rid of desperately was Patrick Bamford. I just don't really rate him going forwards. Dan James, I'm not basing it off performance necessarily in this save. It's more the fact that we don't use wingers, so there was no point in him being here. Archie Gray also goes to Manchester City, and also Somerville goes to Lyon for the same reason, really, as what Dan James sort of had as well, for 10.25. So we actually generated 46 million in income as well. So to be fair, that on top of the budget allowed us to go absolutely mental in the transfer window. And this is what you can see. Now, some of this is in installments, as you can imagine, but we bring in Lavia from Southampton for £90 million, bring in Dominguez from Bologna for £30.5 million, and Patterson from Everton for £49.5 million. So, as you can see here, the midfield is now going to be very future-proofed. We've added 2 young, talented players. Obviously, Dominguez a little bit older than Lavia, but a little bit more experienced as well. Has played in the Serie A, quite a competitive and tough division, whereas Lavia is an upcoming midfield player worth the money because his potential is absolutely crazy, and Patterson is a very good potential right back. So overall, some really, really good signings, and if you think it can get any better, that is where you're wrong, because we go again here, and as you can see, we also let Stuart McKinstry go to Brighton for free. We let Tyler Roberts go to Shakhtar for 2.2 million, and Jack Harrison to Mainz for 6.25. We also bring in Fabio Parisi from Empoli for 31 million pounds. So we have really, really stacked out this team, and the reason why we've done this is because the fullbacks at this club are good, but they are getting older, and I'd want to future-proof this team. That's the main sort of focus. So the fact in one window with future-proof the midfield and the fullbacks, in my opinion, is a very, very, very successful window. So the second season results are in, and you know what? This just shows you make the right signings and you get the results. As you can see right now, not the best display in the Europa League, but let's scrap that because we did, however, get 6th place, which obviously gets us European football again. We also won the FA Cup and the Community Shield this time, and got all the way to the semi-finals, but knocked out by Liverpool. But do you know what? This FA Cup seems to always be ours. We've won the Community Shield, which is good, so that's 2 trophies in one season. It's going to be Noto again with 21 goals in the Premier League. Easily leading the goal scorer tally in that division. It's going to be Rutter with the highest match rating, and Patterson in his first season contributing with 15 assists. In the Europa League, it was a little bit of a... I mean, at least we got past the groups, I guess. But you know what? Borussia Dortmund are a good side. We're not going to talk too much on that one. But it's actually going to be Geldhart coming in with a top goal scorer in the FA Cup. So it is nice to see a variety of players getting involved. Noto in the Carabao Cup, and also Rutter and Patterson. Obviously, Community Shield's not much. So if you wonder why you can't see this, my webcam's probably going to be here in most scenarios because it's going to be 1 or 2 goals and I can read that out. But overall, a very, very good season. Again, to be fair, if a few more games went in our way, we might even be able to have got top 4. But we are progressing slowly, which is exactly what we want to be seeing. And in my opinion, a great season. I just want to take a quick second to say, if you are enjoying the rebuild so far, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and please do turn on notifications. You can also catch me on Twitch practically every single evening. In fact, when you see this, I'm going to be live pretty much an hour afterwards on the same day. So do come over the link. It's going to be on the screen and also in the description. The chat is absolutely lit. There's loads of you guys come over. Do come over and say hello. So, Season 3 is going to be a good one as well, because we have actually been given £62.5 million to spend with this Leeds United side, and there are still some players I want to offload, so this could easily turn into an 80 million budget, possibly even a 90 million. There's a lot of players I still want to get rid of, whether they're, strikers, which I don't really have much faith in, or possibly got some more wide players I want to get rid of, and also we've got some older centre-backs and wing-backs I'm trying to offload, which is not an easy task, let me tell you that. But with this budget, we can definitely carry on strengthening this team, and hopefully we can keep on progressing with Leeds, because the one thing that's important with a rebuild is you don't want to have steady progress. That's fine doing it steady, but then if you have a big drop-off, everything's gone. So you need to keep on top and keep progressing. And to do that, I have brought in 2 players. That is going to be Simakan from RB Leipzig for 14.2 million and Reina from Dortmund for 23 million pounds. So in my opinion, 2 absolute bargains. Obviously, you are going to be seeing some of the old transfers because they sort of joined the same page. But these 2 are the only additions to the team. No one else has been sold either. Simakan is an absolute steal for 14 million pounds, and Reina from Dortmund is an absolute steal for practically 23 million pounds, which in my opinion, you're looking at that, it's next to nothing for them two players. I mean, it's what, 37.5 million pounds, practically 37.2 million pounds for two real good potential players, which are going to make this team 10 times better. Obviously, the Reina is not really going to be used in that sort of Metzala role. He's preferred to be used in that shadow striker, which is exactly what we want. We want someone quick, someone agile, and Simakan just helps us replace some of the older players we have at the centre-back position, replace him with someone that's hungry, determined, and a lot of potential, and hopefully he can become a great player for Leeds. So season 3 is in then, and you know what? This season is absolutely sensational because, as you can see, not the best finish in terms of the Premier League, but the reason why I'm not annoyed is because we've got Champions League anyway, because we have won the Europa League, which is massive for Leeds United against Feyenoord in what was a 2-0 win in the final. We also keep on winning the FA Cup, which is great to see, and also the Community Shield. So it was a very poor finish in the Premier League, but I'm going to be honest, we did have a really good season outside of it, and since we've got that top 4, I imagine that the board are going to be completely fine with it, because that is obviously a massive tournament to get in. It's a great opportunity to show what we actually are about. Do I think we're going to win the Champions League? Obviously not, but I do think we've got enough to get out of sort of the group stage, and hopefully we can make the knockouts, because that is a really good opportunity. It's going to be Noto again, by the way, who is scoring practically all of the goals. As you can see here, 19, 12, 8. It's only in this Community Shield where Geldhart actually got 3, but Noto is literally putting all of the goal sort of duties on his back. He's carrying the team in that perspective, so there's always going to be a position for him in the team. The question is, do we bring in another striker to help him? Because to be honest, a lot of the work is being put on his shoulders, and I feel like having another striker could be a really good shout. But going into the 4th season, we have been given £60 million. I want to say right now, by the way, the budgets have been really generous considering this Leeds. I know their financial status is secure/okay, but I was not expected to be given consistent 60 million. Obviously, we had that 70 million season as well. 60 million's a lot of money to be playing about with, especially if you plan on selling players as well. So 61 million practically as well. So 61 million pounds to spend. Who do we sign? Let me know in the comments one player you would have signed if you were doing this rebuild. So we did spend, and we spent quite big, I'm going to be honest, and one of the signings was not a target of mine, but it was too tempting to pass up on. So the first player is going to be Sudakov from Shakhtar, a very good advanced sort of playmaker, a good like attacking midfield player, going to be playing in that Metzala position for £21 million. We then saw Isaac was unhappy and wanted to move, and he was interested in us. And I was like, do you know what? He's a great player. I actually like him a lot on FM. Let's get him in. £87 million. It's a lot of money to be spending. But I feel like all we need, we're a couple of players off from actually starting to really push up that Premier League table and getting inside the top 4 without having to, or getting Champions League football inside the top 4 without having to win Europa League to get the Champions League. And I feel like with these 2 additions, this could just be enough to push us from lower down the table, past 6th place, and into the top 4. So let's see if my plan works. Well, the plan clearly works because we actually are now all the way up into 2nd place in the Premier League, which is a great season alone. But then you partner in that we got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, which is a massive accomplishment in itself. Unfortunately, PSG were a little bit too much of a challenge, which is to be expected. Runners up in the Super Cup, which obviously isn't ideal. Knocked out in the semi-finals, but we did win the Carabao Cup this time and also the Community Shield down here. So we are still walking away with 2 trophies and obviously a 2nd place finish in the Premier League, only 2 points behind champions Liverpool. So possibly with a few more signings, I'm not saying we can, but in the 5th season, can Leeds United win? If we win the league, be sure to hit the like button because it is going to be a close one. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to complete it in 5 seasons, but it's only 2 points away. And it is obviously going to be Isaac with 22 goals. The man who cost so much money and was a big risk has paid off, the highest goal scorer of the season. Reina as well with 18 assists, something we love to see. Noto performs really good in the Champions League with 9 and also in the FA Cup, to be fair to him, and the Carabao Cup. In fact, practically every game he plays, he does something really good. So fair play to him. Obviously, he wasn't... No, Isaac wasn't brought in to replace Noto. It was more to just help him with the goals because he was literally doing everything. But I'm hoping, as long as we get an okay sort of budget, we can definitely try and strengthen and push for this Premier League title in the 5th season. So this is going to be the transfer window going into the last season. We received around about £65 million again. Very consistent from Leeds United, I am going to say. We did, however, sell a couple of players, or one of them did go on the free. and we use this money to invest in a couple of players. Them players being Levi Colwill from Chelsea, obviously a very hot prospect at centre-back, and also Yunus Musa from Valencia, just to bolster that midfield a little bit more. And do you know what? These two signings, I feel, are going to be enough to push us over that barrier to actually win the Premier League, because I have noticed there were a lot of injuries coming in, especially in the back line. I looked over a few of the games, and we could have done with someone like Colwill just to fill in a few of them gaps. So hopefully he can make the difference, and Musa can also come in and make a big difference, not only in defensive play, but also possibly going forward, maybe grabbing a cheeky goal or assisting a goal. So let's go over and see how we done in the 5th season. Well, clearly them couple of signings have made all the difference, because we have now won the Premier League title, which in my opinion is a massive, massive accomplishment. Unfortunately, the other cups weren't as good this season, but as before, where we didn't do as well in the Prem and we won the Europa League, it's sort of vice versa now. We've really done well in the Prem, obviously winning it, and also not the best display in the other cups, so we are going to take it. We've pretty much won most of the stuff available to us, apart from the Champions League, and we have put together a really, really, really new look, fantastic Leeds side that would perform for many years to come. And I'm really proud of how this rebuild has gone as well. But in terms of some of the player stats then, we'll go over to the squad quickly. We'll go in terms of the goals then. So we can see here, we're actually going to have 39, 34, 24, 18, 15, 6, 5, 5, 4. So as you can see, this tactic does genuinely generate a lot of different goal scorers, which is really good to see as well, because you don't just want all the goals going on one player, which was my worry when I saw Noto picking up a lot of the goals. In terms of the assisters, it's going to be a very familiar pattern: 31, 18, 17, 17, 7, 6, 6, 6. So again, ton of players there getting involved in terms of the assists. A nice mixture of obviously defensive fullbacks, midfielders, defensive midfielders, attacking midfielders, even strikers getting involved with the assists. So a really, really good balanced sort of stat lines coming out from everything. In terms of the actual stats, 103 goals scored and only 35 conceded. And in terms of the data hub, it's going to be 2.71 goals per game and conceded still under a goal a game, which is fantastic, because to be honest, although we've won the division, I still wouldn't say we've got the best team on paper. I think that's very fair to say. Obviously, Manchester City, Liverpool, where did Man City finish? In 7th? An awful season from them. But there are a lot better teams on paper than what we've got right now, but still, the team we have built is absolutely incredible. And now we are going to go over to the tactic page and break that down. So, before we do break down the tactic though, guys, if you are enjoying the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and please also do turn on notifications. And if you do enjoy this content as well, you can join the Discord and join the community. We've got over 410 people in that Discord server, so do come over, get involved. It's the best place for FM23, and also it's when I announce when I post a video and go live. So also do follow the Twitch. But let's go ahead and break down this tactic. So this is going to be obviously a tactic which we did download from FM Scout, so I am going to give full credit to the person that made it, but we have made several tweaks, so I am going to be including the download to the tactic that you're going to be seeing on the screen, because personally it performs a lot better for this team here. But also do check out the other one. But to start with, we are going to go over some of, first off, let's talk about the team we've got. So we've actually finished with a team which looks incredible on paper: Moulier, Patterson, Simakan, Colwill, Parisi, Lavia, Dominguez, Musa, Reina, Noto and Isaac. And on the bench, obviously some of the standout players, you've got Schluck, Sadukov, Sinistera, Christiansen, Adams, Rutter, Kosh, Rocker, Geldhart, Wobber, Aronson, Greenwood, Firpo, Shackleton, Dallas, Helder Costa. So we've still got some really good options to bring on. Obviously, a lot of the good star players are going to be in the first team, but still a very, very good sort of squad we've left them with. But in terms of the tactic then, you want a positive mentality. In possession, you want fairly narrow, overlap left and right, shorter pass and directness, a higher tempo, run at defence and low crosses. In transition, you want counter press, counter, distribute quickly and distribute to the centre backs. Out of possession, you want a lower defensive line, something which works so well on this match engine. I say it time and time again to people: if you are struggling with goals going in, lower that defensive line, because for me in this match engine, it's absolutely broken. It works so well, it literally changed my Bologna save on the live stream. We were doing quite badly, to be honest. We lowered that defensive line and the tactic literally changed the entire team. So it is something I would recommend. A high press line of engagement and much more often on the press. Now, going over to the player roles, it's a nice mixture, so be sure to pay attention. We've got a goalkeeper on defend with no instructions at all. Nice and basic, not even a sweeper keeper on this one. Yes, you could have a sweeper keeper if you want one, but I'd honestly recommend just having a default keeper. Sometimes it's nice, you don't always need to have a sweeper keeper. Now, the wing back on the right is on attack. He's going to be on stay wider. run wide, cross from the byline, and get further forwards. And on the left-hand side, it's going to be a wing-back on run wide, cross from the byline, and get further forwards. We then go over to the two central defenders, which are both on defend. And they are actually on exactly the same instructions as well, which is going to be the default. So this one, shoot less often, dribble less and hold position, and also the exact same for the other one. Now, you can use ball playing defenders if you wish to change this tactic again, but for me, this worked quite well. But I do understand a lot of you guys do like having one ball playing defenders, obviously link up into the midfield and, you know, play around the back. So that's definitely something you could do. The three in midfield is actually a really good partnership. I'm a deep line playmaker on support, on shoot less often, take more risks, and also hold position. And next to him, the box-to-box on simply roam from position. I didn't feel the need to tell him to stay wider or get further forwards, because at the end of the day, we had whip from this fullback, and also we had enough people going forward. We scored enough goals anyway, so I didn't really want to overcommit this player. On the left-hand side, the Metzala on get further forward, stay wider, move into channels, and also roam from position. And this is another reason why that box-to-box was not told to get further forwards, because obviously this player is a Metzala, a lot more attacking, and a player which I do want getting in the box and causing issues. We then go over to the shadow striker, which is going to be Reina. On attack, roam from position, dribble more, take more risks, get further forwards, and also move into channels. What a player Reina ended up being, by the way, an absolute incredible signing, which I think was only about 23 million as well. We then go over to Isaac up front on advanced forward on attack, stay wider and move into channels, and next to him another advanced forward on simply move into channels. So the only difference is we've got one of them on stay wider. Now this could be either one, but in my opinion I would recommend the left one, because then this player goes wide and this player goes wide and it causes all sorts of issues, and this one simply on move into channels. But guys, that is going to be the Leeds rebuild done. I hope you have enjoyed it. Hopefully the Leeds fans like this one. If you do, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment what team you want to see rebuilt next, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.